you got life, there's no way that you can ever be broken. I want you to understand that. Like what God has put together, God has perfectly stitched you together. There's nothing that can make you broken. Okay, you might go through seasons where you break down. Right, you might go through seasons where you go through some things. You might go through seasons where you're breaking, as I call it. Right, you might go through breakups. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's with a job. Maybe it's with a dream. Maybe it's with your past, right? You're going to go through those seasons of breakups. You're going to go through your seasons of breakdowns. Let's be real. None of us are exempt from breaking down. We are going to go through our life trials that break us down. But understand, just because you're broken down doesn't mean that you're truly broken, because I know this is fact. Right after your breakdown is your breakthrough. Your breakthrough comes from your breakdown. You have to break through something. And you might be in a season right now of your breaks. You might be a season of your life where relationships are breaking, right? When your health is breaking, where your, friendships are breaking, where your job is breaking, when your business is breaking. You might be in that. But this is what I know about breaking that I want to give to you, and I won't be on here long. This is what I know about breaking. Breaking is the opportunity for growing, right? You look at a muscle. A muscle has to break in order for it to grow. Sometimes things have to break in order for certain things have to break in order for something to be built better. Certain things have to break for better things to come into place, for growth to come into place, for change to come into place. So I want to let you know this. I'm sure you can attest to this. Something in your life that broke. Right? Something in your life that you went through that was breaking, right? It was breaking your heart. It was breaking your mindset. But I'm sure if you fast forward, you realize like, dang, I had to go through that season of break to get to my season of growth. I had to go through my seasons of break to get to my season of change. I had to go through my season of break to get to my season of build. Right? Just because it feels like it's breaking you, it's probably building you. So I want you to understand that first and foremost, so you're not broken. I had this experience with my daughter. I talk about this on the podcast, and I'll be very quick with it. Very quick. I wish I had an actual crayon in my hand. But I had an experience with my daughters, and they were fighting, two little girls fighting, and my 6-year-old was complaining to me and said, hey, Marley broke my 3-year-old, broke my crayon, and I can't color anymore. And that crayon was split in half, right? That crayon had a break. It did. And that crayon was less attractive. Nobody wants to pick the crayon that has breaks in it. Nobody wants to pick the crayon that's quote unquote broken. And I sat down for a moment. I calmed her down. I said, I know this crayon isn't put together the way you want it to be put together. I know it isn't the same. But I want to ask you this question. Is that crayon useless? And see, a lot of us in our life, when we're going through the season of breaking, we think that we're useless. Right? Maybe our life isn't attractive anymore. Maybe we think that things about us aren't attractive. We feel like we're not the pick of the litter. We feel like people don't choose us. We feel like life doesn't choose us because we're going through things in our life. Things are breaking in our life. But I want to tell you this, and I want to remind you of this. I told my daughter, I said, this crayon is not useless, baby girl. This crayon is still very useful. I said, just because this crayon had went through its break doesn't mean this crayon is broken. Actually, this crayon still colors the same. You can still color with this crayon. Yes, it's not as beautiful as it was when it was put together. But this crayon is still very useful. And it's the same with your life, man. You're just like that crayon. You're just like that color. Broken crayons still color the same. And with your life, yeah, you might be broken, but you're not broken. Right? You might be going through some things in your life where it just feels like everything is breaking down. But this is what I know. Breakdowns are the greatest opportunities to break through. And breakthroughs create a confidence in you that no easy life could have ever produced. You're confident in you because of what you went through, of what you survived through, of what you grew through. You're confident in God because he did it for you before. So you know he can do it for you. So he can do it for you again. See, sometimes we got to go through our seasons of breaking to build our strongest faith. Sometimes we got to go through our seasons of breaking to build our strongest strength. Sometimes we got to go through our seasons of breaking to meet who we truly are inside. Sometimes we got to go through our seasons of breaking to discover the true gifts that are inside of our hearts. Sometimes we got to go through seasons of breaking so we can experience our seasons of growing, our season of changing, our seasons of building. So I know you might be hearing me right now and you're like, Trent, man, I hear you, but this is hard. And understand, when things break down, it's hard. Understand, when things are breaking in your life. I have a ankle break right now. And for the last 6 months, it's been a struggle. But the thing that I know about my situation and my injury is that it built some resilience in me that I never would experience if I didn't go through this. You see, a lot of us, we're praying for more, we're praying for better, but we don't want to go through our seasons that position and prepare us for what we're praying for. Sometimes in this life, you got to lose certain things to gain better things. Sometimes in life, you got to go through it to get to it. Sometimes in life, we wish we can skip the process. But the process is actually the most beautiful part of the journey. You know, healing feels like hurting at first. But over time, healing feels like growing at some point. Healing, I'm going to say that again, sometimes feels like hurting at first. But healing is necessary for your journey. So I want to tell you, whoever it is that needed this message, as you're in this season of breakups, breakdowns, feel like your heart is breaking. Some things have to break so better things can take place. I always say when I'm going through my breakdowns, even though it's hard to like deal with it, hard to sometimes get through it, I thank God, because I know whatever was sent to my life, whatever he allowed to come to my life, whatever I allowed to come to my life, it might have been sent to break me, but I promise you, I'm going to make that thing build me. It's going to build my faith. It's going to build my character. It's going to build my resilience. It's going to build my soul. The things that you go through aren't meant to break you forever. They're there to build a strength that lasts forever. And I know some of you, I just said somebody, you lost your mom to cancer. I know that firsthand. And I do know this, even though that season was breaking me down and still breaks me down at times, that season also built my faith more than ever. It also built my intention more than ever. It also built my awareness more than ever. Because now I know that life isn't promised. Now I know we're all one day away from a sickness popping up, from a doctor's report, from a tragic accident, from a situation. It's built my appreciation more than ever. You might not be in control of what happens to you and what comes to you. But I want to tell you this. You are in control of the meanings you give it, of how you respond to it. I know a lot of people in the comments are saying things that happen to them that suck, that are unfair, that you don't understand. that don't make sense. But I want to tell you that even when it's breaking you down, even the things that don't even seem impossible to build you up, you can allow that situation to build something inside of you. To build something inside of you. I hope this resonated with someone. I hope it touched someone's heart. You can just drop a prayer emoji hands in the comments or whatever emoji you want to use to let me know. But, I know a lot of us too, not to try to change the subject, but we're so afraid of death. We're so afraid of leaving this earth. And I always tell people, man, death is a part of life, y'all. And it's something that I realized losing my mother was very hard, but I realized it was my selfishness that wanted to keep her here. Like, her time was done. And if we truly believe, we should celebrate that, right? Like, death should really be a celebration. And I'm not saying how someone dies can be tragic. But, I grew up in Louisiana, and I never understood why growing up there in New Orleans, why they had second lines, and they used to celebrate. And it made me realize we should celebrate when somebody passes away. I know it's hard because we want them here, want to talk to them. It's not a day, a moment that I don't miss my mother. It's not a day and a moment that I wish I could call her, hear her. But she's here with me forever in here. And our mission has been fulfilled. None of us have experienced death, so we're so afraid of it. But what I would be more afraid of is dying while you're still living, y'all. Because so many people have experienced that death, where they're living like the walking dead. They've allowed situations to break them. They allow situations to keep them broken. When truly, you can never be broken when you've been put together and stitched by God. As long as you got breath in your body, as long as you got a heartbeat, you're not broken. As long as you have your life, you're not broken. And so I know it's hard to lose people, but you got to realize you never lost them. Maybe you lost them in a physical form, but you never lost them spiritually. Even right now, this is Mom speaking to y'all. This is the things that she gave me, the things that she taught me, the things that she helped me believe. So I know it still hurts. I know it doesn't make it better, but hopefully it can give you a little bit of perspective shift that their duty and their job is done. And it's okay, but you're still here. And it would be a shame, and I know that's a strong word that I probably shouldn't use, but I'm going to use it because I had this conversation with me. It would be a shame. It's okay to hurt, y'all. It's okay to go through grief. You're going to go through grief. I'm still in my seasons of grief. It's okay. So don't take that from this. But I want to say this. It would be a shame that you allow somebody's death to be the reason why you die while you're still living. They wouldn't want that. Nah. Because they got to stay alive through you. You got to keep their legacy alive through you. There's not a day go by that my kids don't ask about Honey, their grandmother. You know why? Because I make sure I keep her legacy alive through me. But if I was to die while I was still living, her legacy wouldn't carry on. I know that doesn't make it easier for you, but I hope that brings a perspective to maybe bring some healing to you a little bit. But as my main message, and the reason I got on here, and just to remind you once again before I leave today, is that just because you're breaking doesn't mean you're broken. Sometimes it takes things falling apart for better things to fall into place. I want y'all to share that quote on your page. I want you to write that quote right now in the comments. I want to see it. Just because you're breaking doesn't mean you're broken. Sometimes it takes certain things falling apart for better things to fall into place. I'm going to say that one more time. Just because you're breaking doesn't mean you're broken. Sometimes it takes certain things falling apart so better things can fall into place. Breaking is often the foundation for growing. Don't you ever forget that. I love you. I appreciate you. If you got something from this message, leave a comment, like this video so it can reach more people, share this so it can reach more people. But most of all, I just appreciate your attention and I appreciate you giving me your time. Like I say at the end of every single video, it all starts with you. You know what time it is.